we have, ta-da, Atlaga the Kyrie Warrior. And yeah, let me do this. Okay, let me just read through Atlaga because there's not much. The character bio is NA, but I'm sure Jeremy might have a thing or two to say, hopefully, about Atlaga. But
I got you.
Right now, we'll just read what's on the card here. So Atlaga the Kyrie Warrior, obviously under Uller's banner. Kyrie, unique hero, warrior, confident, medium 6. Has this here special abilities: Kyrie leadership. All Kyrie you control, except Atlaga. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read that writing. Move 1 additional space. I'm just gonna. Okay, there. That's better. Others bolt of Witherwood. After moving and before attacking with Atlaga, you may choose any opponent's figure within 5 clear sight spaces of Atlaga. Roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 1 through 15, nothing happens. If you roll a 16 or higher, the chosen figure is destroyed. Atlaga may attempt to use this power only once per game. And then the flying ability, when counting spaces for Atlaga's movement. Ignore elevations. Atlaga may fly over water without stopping, pass over figures without becoming engaged, and fly over obstacles such as ruins. When Atlaga starts to fly, if he is engaged, he will take any leaving engagement attacks. Then you also have, so you've got a 4 life, a movement of 5, a range of 5, an attack of 4, not bad, and a defense of 3, coming in at 90 points. And now, oh, wait. And so for when it comes to the stats of this card, I don't think I've seen this this word too much on like the ScapeCon stage too much, because I think there's probably just better ones out there. But the Kyrie leadership is fun. If there were more Kyrie to use, I think that would be a fun ability to have to play.
Right.
Let's see here, because here, yeah. Well, Kyrie control except Atlaga move 1 additional space, so it just helps their movement a little bit, which, I mean, movement can help in a game. Now, I was reading like below, and of course, like, and I forgot to put the link. I'll put the link after the podcast is the live stream of the podcast is done. But if you find this Books of Heroscape on Heroscapers.com, it gives you all this information plus conversation about said a hero or squad below. And I know one thing that was said was that Uller's Bolt of the Witherwood is pretty useless, but the wording is interesting to me because it says at the end, Atlaga may attempt to use this power only once per game. What does that mean? Atlaga may attempt. Does it mean does that mean you just can use it once?
You get one, yeah. You get one kill, and then when you get that kill, that's it.
Okay, and that's why I figure it's just a weird way to write a sentence. You might as well just say Atlaga can only attempt to use this power once instead of may.
Yeah, there's I think it's mainly because you can choose.
Yeah, it's the
like you don't have to use bolt. Yeah.
Right. So this could only be used once. Yeah.
So you have a 1 shot during the course of the game for a 25% chance of a kill, and that's all you can use at one time.
Pretty much.
Yep.
It's great when it works. It's nothing better than one-shotting someone's Q10.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, no, for sure.
It's not a reliable strategy.
No.
I wouldn't use a strategy like that ever. Nope.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It might be fun, like in just casual play, but tournament play, you don't be taking those chances. I'd say the attack and defense are fair. 90 points now. I don't know what the points would be for it for Delta, if it's less or more. I think actually for Delta it's actually 100 points. I think for some reason.
Okay.
So
range is really good.
Yeah, the range is good because you got attack of 4, range 5. So you got 4 life. That's not bad, especially since you're flying around. You can get high elevation and just start sniping people a little bit. Yeah, that helps. So in that case, yeah, it might not. I mean, how many flying heroes have a range? You could fly around and then just end up with an extra attack. I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, I think you're right about that, RogueScaper. That to have him bounce around the field a little bit and that I think that's more of an advantage than the main ability, the bolt. Although it doesn't hurt to do it, just to be like, okay, let's see if I can destroy then pot shot other people. So yeah, I can see it that way.
This guy's busted on maps with little castles around, little small castles. He'd fly him up, and I've more casual maps. He's crazy. I use him a lot for end game stuff, just because he's a cool sculpt and I love him. But when you have 3 people on the board, your Bolt of the Withered Wood is definitely worth wiping someone out and then just zipping around.
Right. No, and I would agree that the aesthetics, how this miniature looks is beautiful. I mean, a Kyrie wielding a gun is that's fun. Absolutely.
Technically it's an arbalist. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. I'm just
All right. Were you turning were you turning tabletop bro there for 5 seconds, I think?
Wait, what's that?
It sounds like something tabletop bro was saying. If you saw his video, hey, that's another shout out. I mean, he did a video just the other day, and it's at the time of this recording, his most recent one, and it's a different than what he's done before, but it is hilarious. It got nothing to do with Heroscape. It's got more to do with role playing games.
Tabletop thing.
Yeah. It's absolutely hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Anyway, okay.
That's funny.
So good points. Good points. Now let's see here. Who synergizes? We're gonna go to synergies here for a second, and then we'll hop into lore.
It's all the Kyrie gets a bonus.
Yeah, pretty much. Kyrie leadership, all Kyrie units. So that's Kankan, Einar Imperium, Kiova, Kelda, minions, protectors, Raylan, Runa, Salen, Sentinels, Taylord, and C3V. You got a good amount of C3V too. I mean, it's a good amount, but again, the Kyrie or Kiri. I need to remember that it's Kiri, not Kyrie. Even though I'm sure either way, but I know the official is Kiri. I know we could all use more Kiri, and maybe with more Kiri, it might end up being a more valuable piece on the board for all things. But yeah, it's got a good. You have a good selection to building your armies with it, so that is
it's fun and sure. Big point games to get this guy and Marcus with the Einar and just have some super fast death assassins in the Imperium. But nice. that's a hard format to get. But if you can get that all like a 700, 800 point format, the Imperium will slaughter everyone else because they're moving 7 spaces with double attacks of 3. It's crazy.
I wonder what the Imperium's delta points are because they're expensive in OG.
Right, and one thing I wanted to, what's the financial value of trying to acquire this miniature? I'm sure it's a little expensive because it's wave 9.
Yeah, wave 9.
Yeah,
wave 9 was one of the least produced waves out there, so it's less units.
It'd be a hard one to find.
Prediction, yeah.
I'm trying to remember if I have one in my collection or not. I don't remember. I think I do. I'm not 100% sure. I have to remember going through all my stuff. Yeah, I'll have to see. I'll have to double check and make sure.
Yeah, I think I was able to get Atlaga before they got rid of Wave 9. I can't remember if I bought it afterwards or if I bought it when it came out. It's been a while.
And all right, anything else on the stats or playing with it, and we'll jump into lore if there's nothing else to comment on that.
Because I don't think there are many other ranged flying figures in the game. I'm
Right.
trying to remember. I know there's the protectors, but they were kind of released at the same time.
But
Yeah, they came in the same set.
The dragons have their special attack, but it's kind of something different. And I'm trying to think. These might be the only official classic ranged.
Yeah, drumming ahead. I'm thinking it's the case with Atlaga, and Atlaga's kind of rare in that aspect. So as long as you use that advantage, on the battlefield for that, then yeah, that would certainly help because
I think
regular attack of 4 is no joke.
Right. That defense is scary though. I feel like if you let Atlaga get surrounded, he's going to go down pretty quickly. So you have to
again, height that you get defensive 4, depending
Right.
on who's attacking. So just I guess depends where you're at, but yeah, I get it. All right.
I like more heroes with passive leadership, so you don't have to be adjacent. It just affects everyone with this personality or
as long as you have them in the army. Yeah.
Consummate, but better.
Yeah, no, and that's true for the Kyrie leadership part too. It doesn't matter, where they're at on the board. They're affected by it. So yeah, that's a plus as well for sure. All right, anything else?
It's a really easy model to print and paint if you don't have them in your collection. He looks great, and even the 3D printed model is just still just as good. It's like 3 colors on the model, so would recommend getting this one if you're looking to try an easy one out.
Very good point. And yeah, this is one reason why RogueScaper we have these discussions too, for people who might be just getting started and be like, hey, what would be relatively easy type of miniature for me to get, even though like the original miniature for Atlaga might be difficult and expensive to get. You're right, there are plenty of 3D printed options out there where you could purchase relatively cheap and just paint it yourself, or even if you don't worry about paint it, just if you have a miniature there on the board, and print out the card, and there you go. So yeah, easier to consider that being part of your army with those options for sure. All right. So how about we talk about lore, which it says character bio NA. And that's all I got for today.
Yep.
Congratulations. Okay, bye. Jeremy, what else could you tell us about?
So yeah, there's a pretty solid pocket of information we can actually talk about regarding the storyline and Atlaga. The funny thing is, as you can see, there is no bio. The reason for that, for those may know or in the know, that Truth or Colby Dosh, the individual behind Plaid Hat Games, he was the one that was contracted to write those biographies when they first launched those units, but he was under NDA when he wrote them, and then they completely shifted the design direction towards the Dungeons and Dragons themed sets. So during the time, permission to release these bios just kind of never passed under Wizard of the Coast's nose, and they just never approved. So then when they discontinued it, that NDA is still in effect. So Truth has these bios completed. He just legally cannot release them. Because the permission was never granted. He was never able to get that permission. And as far as I know, either he still has them somewhere, or like we just need to figure out what the permission is needed to
shout
get
out
the
to
permission
Renegade,
granted.
open.
Yeah, so if Renegade wants to
doors.
figure out how, some copyright stuff, or figure out how to break that NDA, because it's like, I mean, that was back in 2009. I'm pretty sure it's expired at this point, but I could be. I mean, I don't know if NDAs was long-lasting, permanent terms. You know how the legal stuff.
Depends on the contract.
Yeah.
Right, it depends on the contract. So I don't know what exactly the terms of his contract is. Yeah, right. So that would be the worst version of the story, is that we never get it because Wizard of the Coast is just like, nah, fam. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It is out there. That's the thing. It was written. Yeah. You just haven't seen it.
Now, why Hasbro Wizard of the Coast would fight the NDA at this point, I don't know.
I know.
It's like some legal reason they just enforce those to look strong.
Yeah. But in terms of that, we actually learned about Atlaga much earlier than the launch of his unit. So like his character came out during Wave 9, but he was in Thorman's Journal Chapter 3. He's one of the speaking characters that talked to Thorman and the party of individuals who are traveling across Ekstrom. He meets them in that fortress. So we're actually, when we do the Thorman journals later on, we're going to read some entries and we're going to read in Atlaga's perspective. Like he ends up explaining to them about the Volcarian wasteland. He's like, hey, so we're doing our best holding the lines down here, but somehow random volcanoes have appeared. And it's like, bro, what? And so like he's the one. Yeah, well, because that was the thing. It was like Volcarian wasteland was introduced as the lava set, but then in the world they introduced it as a how like when a volcano explodes, it like builds up on itself, and that's where islands are created. Like Hawaii was a volcano at one point. Yeah. So apparently that happened, but an entire peninsula of land was formed by volcanic activity spontaneously, and Utgar was using it to cross into the jungle. And so Atlaga is like, hey, so we have a problem. Can you go deal with that? We'll take care of things here. And so that's how he introduces himself, is like volcanoes. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, so we actually got him talking to us years in advance prior to the unit's actual release. And then the next bit of information we got later on in 2010, they introduced him in one of the Dungeons and Dragons bios. So this was really cool because I want to say this was the devs' attempt to combine Classic with D&D for the first time ever. And it's the adventure called Road to the Underdark, if anyone's ever played that campaign scenario. And in Road to the Underdark, which was released in 2010, you have the OG adventurers from Battle from the Underdark as the starting characters, and then they're just traveling and they get attacked by Jotun, which we just read from Thorman's journal. And if you defeat Jotun, right, that's the succeeding element of the story. If you defeat Jotun, Atlaga appears to those adventurers and hands them the Bolt of the Witherwood, like the power that he has. He gives them a glyph which has the exact same power. And so like this is by far, out of everything that's ever been released, right? This was the first time ever that the Wizards of the Coast combined Classic with Dungeons and Dragons concepts. Like everything else beforehand was just all D&D. Road to the Underdark is the first time they tried to meld the two worlds, and Atlaga was like part of that. So I thought that was pretty cool. They used them as like the voice piece of Olar. But yeah, other than that, we got nothing.
Well, it's something that hopefully we'll know more in the future. Hopefully a lot of these classic characters, a lot of their stories will be more revealed, and something that we'll probably might have to revisit
for everything
in the future for sure.
Right.
Well, no, but thank you, Jeremy, for sharing what you do know.
I gotcha.
Anything else to say about Atlaga before we finish this segment?
Everything I got.
Right.
He's S tier in how he looks. He's kind of mid-range in how he plays, but he's cool. He's always a fun unit to have on your battlefield. He may not win your game for you, but if you get the Witherwood going, it's always a good day. But don't.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Don't.
I mean, a free kill, regardless. Like even if 25% is not very good odds, but like I've seen even less odds,
right,
and still have that happen. Like I mean, Deadeye Dan, like. You have to get a 19 or 20 to get an auto kill, and you can't move in order for that to work, and it still happens. So, if you're willing to test the odds, you may never know. You might get the win because you somehow killed the most important unit with the Bolt of the Witherwood.
But I mean, with flying and range, and moving around, and if you have a height advantage, attack of 5, there's nothing to sniff at. As long as you know how to use it, So
right,
yeah, it might be worth considering getting Atlaga, whether the original miniature or of course 3D printed miniature as well, which there's options out there. So yeah, consider Atlaga, and that is looking at this Kyrie Warrior.